We're going on this. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited for tonight. This is a new thing for our Strong Retirement Club. We are bringing Gail Kreitzer into our community. So welcome, Gail.
Hi.
Gail and I started working one-on-one together in February after my husband gifted me for Christmas to work with her. And I'm also going to mute people for now, but we'll open it up for questions and stuff throughout. So my husband was asking me, what do I need for Christmas? What do I want for Christmas? And at that time I was pregnant with Mikey, and I said, I need some organization up in my, for my brain. I need some mental help, making sure things at work are taken care of. And usually those are the things that were taken care of. It's more the stuff at home. And I felt so guilty that stuff at home was kind of falling to the wayside. So I said, Gail does this amazing work. I want to know more. I basically just told my husband to call her. He's like, what am I doing? What does she do? And thank goodness he did, because in February we started. We just had our last call. What was that, last week already? I can't even remember, Gail, last week. And it's completely changed the way I operate, the way I think. I find myself more productive, more creative, more relaxed, especially with the to-do list, right? I'm sure everybody on this call, everybody who's watching this afterwards, you have a to-do list in some form, whether it's up in here, it's on a notepad by the fridge, it's on your computer, on your phone, or maybe all of those, right? There's lists everywhere in every aspect of your house. I know my mom makes a joke. I have a list to keep track of my lists. Nice. Which list I need to go off of. And that is kind of confusing in its own way. So Gail has an amazing way she approaches unpacking our mind, giving every place an area, every to-do a spot in your world, every question, anything that you want to research, any goal you have, any fear, a place to go. So it takes up less space in our mind, leaves us more space to be creative, to be present when we're in a conversation, if we're in something like this. And I think that's so important, especially in today's world, especially with what we're going on right now. Being able to control our mind a little bit more will really help us get through this thing when we feel that we have nothing we can control, when there's so many things unknown to us. All right. So Gail, you're going to take us through learning your approach, how it's helped people, and I'm sure you'll have some homework for the women and everything, but I will hand it off to you, Gail. Thank you so much for being here tonight. So grateful for you, not only to be here for the women, but for the work that you've helped me do. It's helped my family so much.
I'm so glad, Jessica. And as I told you several times, you were and are a star student, off the charts. Such a sincere pleasure working with you. And I am so excited to be here. I just want to say, I told Jessica earlier that I am in my husband's office, and he's got one of those desks that you can elevate. And I normally work, in my office, and I'm sitting down all day. But tonight I am standing up, and I feel amazing. Okay. I'm going to present to you standing up. Are you guys fired up? I can't see Ashley, and I can't see, I can't see your first name, but Pulish, what's her first name?
Oh, Georgianne, sorry.
I can't see Georgianne or Ashley, but I can see Lynette. So can you feel the power? Just give me a thumbs up if you can feel my power. Okay, good. I want to see that too. All right. So here we go. So guys, I am very excited to share a slide deck with you that is going to share just some highlights of my training. So we're going to do the share the screen. Awesome. We are going to, just got to get rid of the top part here. How do I move that? Slideshow, hold on, here we go, slideshow. All right, slideshow, use slideshow. Okay, we did it. All right, guys, welcome. It is so nice to meet you. As you know, my name is Gail Kreitzer, and just to give you a little bit of some background, I am a former HR professional. I worked for about 12 years in the marketing and advertising industry in Boston and New Jersey. And I really specialized in leadership development, performance reviews, communication, and that was really the part, and recruiting. That was the part of the HR that I really gravitated towards. And here are some fun facts, just so, we make this a little interactive. I was born and raised in New Jersey. I do have an identical twin sister. I have a husband of over 20 years, and I have 2 teenage daughters. And surprisingly, they still like me, which is nice as teenagers. And another little fun fact is I love the beach. I love going to the beach, but you will never see me on the beach without wearing shoes and socks on my feet. You will not see me sitting out in the sun, and you will not see me in the ocean. Okay? So go figure. I'll let you chew on that, but I love going to the beach. You want to go sometime? Okay. Now, also, I am a mind organizer. I am absolutely obsessed with helping people declutter their minds. And in addition to that, I am a certified coach. So I help people achieve greater success across all areas of their life. And I really coach people according to a very specific philosophy. It's called core energy coaching, and it's really coaching people from the inside out and helping them really understand how their energy shows up in different parts of their lives. So that's about what I do today. My business, it's called Dashboarding Minds, and I've been in business for about 5 years. And I'm really, really excited to help you today because my mission is really to help people declutter their minds and unleash their power. So, this isn't like the typical presentation where I can see people and we can kind of interact. But I know you guys all belong to the awesome, strong retirement club. So you all have that in common. I know that like most women, we are juggling a million things. We may be juggling a job, children, family, elderly parents, volunteering, finances, you name it. You probably have a lot on your plate. And of course, we are living through unprecedented times right now. So the fact of the matter is, I don't need to tell everyone here that we have a lot going on, okay? And I really refer to it as the too much syndrome, okay? A lot of people relate to this image on the screen. They feel like, wow, my brain has too many tabs open. So I know I can't see all you guys, but nod your head if, you relate to this, okay? Mm-hmm. So you're not alone. It's really about, feeling like you have too much to do, too much uncertainty, too much to think about, too many choices, pressure, distractions, okay? And I've been doing this, like I said, for several years, and really that tends to be kind of the overarching umbrella to this is really this too much. And too much can cause, no surprise, a lot of stress. And maybe you identify with one of these emojis on the screen, maybe all of them, okay? Maybe it depends on the day.
It's the stages of the stress.
Yes, and I actually do have a slide that I often use that shows the progression of emojis as you're getting stressed out. Yes, indeed. So we all know it's no secret that stress impacts every part of us. It impacts our body, physically. It impacts our emotions, the way we feel. It impacts our brain functioning. And really all of that can just impact our behavior, how we show up. Okay, so really, a lot of different ways it can impact us. So I always like to kind of ask people, everyone has a toolbox on how they deal with stress. So I'm very curious with the people that we have on this presentation today on what you guys do what is in your toolbox to deal with stress? And Jessica, can we have someone talk, or should we just have them go into the chat box?
I just put in the chat, but
Okay.
I'll unmute
So we
everybody.
can do the chat.
We have
Okay.
a group. Does anybody want to
And
say what they do to de-stress? I go for runs.
Okay, so that's your go-to. You like to run to de-stress.
Yes.
Okay. Who else would like to share? Let's make this really interactive. And
Ashley said meditation and yoga.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing a 30-day yoga challenge. 10 minutes of yoga a day. That's been a good help. What do you do, Gail?
All right. So obviously there are so many ways that we as individuals deal and we cope. Maybe it's exercise. Maybe it's hanging out with our friends, interacting with our friends, Zooming with our friends right now, right? Maybe we focus on our nutrition or some form of art, maybe music or journaling or painting. Maybe we unplug from the news for a while or unplug from technology. We do something to relax ourselves. Maybe we try to get extra sleep. And some of you might relate to special beverage night.
I was going to
so
where's the wine?
I know. Everybody at every presentation, they're like, wait a minute. What about the wine? So there's the wine. So lots of good ways that we can cope. All right. Now I want to share with you guys, I want to flash back to.
That's me.
That's okay. Okay. So I want to flash back to what I looked like and felt like several years ago. I was working so hard to try to do it all for my family. And I know some of you may not be able to see me, but I use do it all in quotes. And what I was doing is I was working, I was volunteering, I was taking care of my children, I was dealing with the house, I was dealing with schedules, dealing with, friends and a social calendar and all sorts of activities. And for the most part, I was getting it all done, okay? But I had a really sobering and defining kind of wake up. One day, I was outside in my driveway with my young children. They're teenagers now, but they were much younger back then. And I was in the driveway and I was screaming at the top of my lungs for my kids to get in the car. Screaming. I was losing it. I was yelling that we were going to be late. Of course, I have no idea now what we were going to be late for, but it was very urgent apparently at the time. And as I'm losing it, screaming at my kids outside, the UPS man rounds the corner to drop off a package. Okay? I'll never forget. I saw him. He suddenly appears around the corner of the garage with the package. He drops it on the ground and he goes, "Have a nice day, Gail," and races out the driveway. Okay? Now, I am certain that the UPS man has seen everything, heard everything, but I was mortified. I really was. I was mortified. I was embarrassed. He overheard the way I was speaking to my kids, the same kids that I had made like homemade kale baby food for, several years before. And it was really the first time that I heard myself. Have you guys ever had one of those moments where you actually hear yourself and you're like, wow, when did I become that person? I was overwhelmed, anxious, exhausted, stuck, irritable, reactive. I really, really didn't feel like myself at all. And I started to think deeply about where stress begins. Now, where does stress begin? Put it in the chat box.
Where does stress begin? Oh my gosh.
Where does stress come from?
Trying to control.
Anyone, Jessica?
You can't control.
Okay, so it comes from lack of control. Anyone else?
Perfectionism.
Perfectionism. Okay.
Trying to please others.
Trying to please others, absolutely. And, sometimes I like to joke that where does stress begin? It might begin with our spouse. It might begin with our children. It might begin with our job. But really, when I started to think about it deeply, there was no arguing that stress starts in our minds. 100%. It starts in our minds, and it's about how we perceive the outside stimulus. So let me just tell you that I started to think deeply about, what's going on in my mind, right? And the truth was a lot. So you can go ahead and look at the screen and you'll see that I had all of these thoughts racing around in my brain, tangled in my brain, stuff that I was trying to hold on to, okay? And when I really started looking at it, I realized, you know what was in there? Short-term tasks, long-term tasks, no-term tasks. Does anybody know what a no-term task is? What an example of a no-term task? Anyone? In the chat box? Going. Okay, so a no-term task is something that really doesn't have a deadline to it. Nobody's forcing you to do it. You don't really have to do it, but it may be something super important. So it could be something like, we should really update our will, or we should actually make a will, right? Mm-hmm. Something that is important but doesn't have a deadline attached to it. That's an example of a no-term task. So like I said, I had short-term, long-term, no-term tasks in my brain. I had thoughts, I had ideas, I had worries. And these types of things were across every area of my life: work, health, family, personal, and volunteer. Now, let me just tell you that it was really clear that these thoughts were filling up my brain, okay? And I started to think deeply about why that was. I have always been organized. Like, I am not crazy organized. I mean, no one would ever accuse me of being like, you know, if you looked at my sock drawer, for example, my socks all have partners, but there's no compartments with like dress socks. Okay, like that's a great level. I've never been at that level. But what I'm saying to you is I was organized, and I've had, you know, lots of experience with that. But I still felt that in spite of being organized, there was stuff that I didn't know where to put. I didn't know where to put things for safekeeping. So I started thinking about my toolbox for stress. And like all of you, I had some things in there that, you know, we all do, like exercise, right? Relaxing, having a special beverage. But I really started to focus on my approach to personal organization. I started scrutinizing it, okay? And what I did is I just started thinking about all the tools that I was using and the strategies. And before I touch upon that, I would love to hear from the people, from some volunteers on what tools and strategies. How would you describe your approach to organization?
Everyone's unmuted, so.
Oh, we're unmuted?
Yeah.
Yeah, I make lists.
Okay.
Just on a pad of paper?
On a pad of paper. Sometimes I do it on my iPad, but that gets lost. So I'm just better with a piece of paper.
Okay. So
and
you're
they're
a list
all over
person,
the place.
And they're all over the place. Okay. So you related to that picture of the woman with stuff all over the place.
You're right.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Anything else you want to add? Just lists?
No. Well, I have calendar.
How about a calendar?
Calendar. A write-on.
You have a paper calendar. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. How about Ashley? You want to share?
Oh, hey, Ash.
Hi.
Sorry. I do lists. I live and die by my list, and I have an old school paper calendar because I used to put it in my phone, And I found I wasn't going back to it and revisiting, so I would forget a lot of stuff. So definitely the list and a paper calendar.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for sharing. And was it Georgianne?
Yeah, Georgianne?
Yes. Yes, Georgianne.
Hi.
Hi. I'm at a loss for words here. I don't know. I guess I do the paper calendar, and if I'm pretty good with my memory about dates and like birthdays and things like that. So I'm always able to get cards out on time, and but it helps if I take my big old calendar and write in there every month, turn it over, and I just put in appointments and
So you're very visual. You're visual, and you like things that are kind of tactical or tactile, I should say.
Yeah.
Tactile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Excellent. Excellent.
and
Thank you for
kind
sharing.
of, I'm not, really a techie, so I don't do really anything on my phone much at all. It's all written down. If it's not written down, and that's how I have to roll.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. Okay. I don't know if we have, I think there's one more person on here.
There is Lon.
I will be asking another question.
Unmute her.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Lon. There you are.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Hi. No video, sorry. But so I used to use a pocket calendar for many years for everything. But in the last few months, maybe this year, really, I started to use my iPhone more in terms of putting in, things on the calendar, appointments and reminders and whatnot. Because I don't pull out my little pocket calendar and look at it anymore, and I missed a couple things. I was like, all right, I guess I'll have to start using the phone.
Yep. Excellent. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys sharing. So one of the things that I started thinking about with my kind of approach is I was thinking that in spite of the fact that, I had all these tools and there was still really something that was missing. Okay. And when you guys think about your approach to personal organization, you could just jot down in the chat what you feel is lacking, what is not working with your approach, what is happening, what is not happening. See if you can just jot anything down. See what we got. And Jessica, let me know if they start pouring in.
Yeah, we have a quiet group tonight.
Yeah, it's okay. I like to make this interactive, so I'm not.
Exactly. I love interaction.
So what's missing? What works? What doesn't work? Just what's in the chat?
Well, I keep thinking of the no-term tasks. It's like there's nowhere on the calendar to put those. It's like, or do you keep putting reminders to think about it? I think the no-term tasks are what I struggled with the most. It's kind of like they're taking up space in my mind because I have to keep remembering I want to do something or I have to do something.
And where do you put that? Even if you have all these tools, right?
Or it's somewhere on a notebook that you lose track of.
Okay. Anyone else? Did anyone else write anything?
No.
In the chat? Okay.
No, nothing in the chat.
All right. So when I started thinking about what I craved mindfulness. And I think we all know that mindfulness now is everywhere. It's a buzzword, and it's something that businesses are, digging into, expanding. School systems are. I mean, the school system that one of my kids goes to in Randolph, their like mantra is educating the whole child. You know, that is their mantra: social, emotional, right? Academic. So mindfulness is really everywhere. It's no longer a trend. It's really here to stay. And my question for all of you guys is, what are some things that you do that are mindful? What are some I heard someone say yoga and meditation. What does this group kind of do for mindfulness? You can put it in the chat box. Anything else besides?
I think we have in general with the whole group, a lot of walkers.
Excellent.
I've been trying to get them into journaling, right? Journaling, brain dumps, that good stuff.
Yeah, so there's obviously a lot of things out there that you can do to practice mindfulness. And I always like to ask this question too, like, what makes something mindful? Seriously, what makes something mindful? Put a word in the box.
Learning to be in the moment.
In the moment. Okay, so when I think about mindfulness and you start reading about mindfulness, you know, mindfulness is about creating space. It's about creating connection, oftentimes, right, with yourself, a deep connection to, you know, yourself. Mindfulness, you associate it with feelings of calm, peace. Mindfulness can be associated with focusing, really focusing your attention and ignoring all the clutter. I mean, especially with meditation, it's about kind of being present and letting those thoughts feel like clouds that just pass over you. Mindfulness can give you perspective. You know, that's like when you kind of step out of yourself and you see things a little bit differently. It's also about balance, okay? And peace. So here's the thing that I often encourage people to do when it comes to personal organization. Start to think about whether your approach to organization fosters mindfulness. And there are a series of questions that you can ask yourself, okay? So the first question is, does my approach to organization help me create space in my mind? Okay? Now you saw that slide I shared earlier where we hold on to things because we're not quite sure where to put them. We're afraid we are going to lose them. And if we're holding them on in our brain, we don't have a lot of space. And it can be very helpful to practice organization that provides space. Why? So your best and most important thoughts have room to unfold and stretch. You can also ask yourself, does my approach to personal organization help me feel calm?
That's a great question.
You know, does it? It's a good question, right? Does it help me feel calm, or does it stress me out trying to find something?
Yeah.
What did I do with that? Oh my gosh. Okay. Question number 3. This is super important. Does it help me stay connected to all areas of my life, of my work and my life? So I'm obsessed with mental organization for the whole you, not just for you to succeed perhaps at one area of your life, but to integrate all of them, okay? Does it help you create balance? I mean, are you all in? Are you kind of ignoring one area of your life or feeling too stretched and just kind of feeling overextended, or does it help you cultivate balance for yourself? Does it help you stay connected to yourself? I mean, oftentimes when we're running around and we're really busy or we feel stuck, we just kind of lose that connection to ourselves. Does it help you stay tightly connected to my priorities? Now, I spend a lot of time with my clients talking about priorities, and what I find over and over again is most people have no difficulty identifying their priorities, and they're pretty universal. People will say health, family, my career, maybe spiritual, right? very universal, no right or wrong. But what I find is that most people find that they are rather, they're floating way above there. They're more aspirational, you know, like, oh gosh, health, that would be nice. It's way up there. So I really focus on helping my clients create a tight connection to their priorities so they feel very tangible and actionable. Now, does your approach to personal organization help you think? And I'm being serious. Now, oftentimes, high achievers are really, really experts at doing. Now, don't get me wrong, they're great at thinking too, but when they're operating in the world of too much, they are hyper-focused on doing. And they feel that even if they pause, that they're going to be left behind or that they're going to not be able to catch up. So they don't even feel like that's allowed or something that they should do. So mindful organization is very, very, it includes being able to interact with what's going on in your brain so you can make better decisions, make better choices, and ultimately not spend your energy trying to hold on to the information, but spend your energy interacting with everything that comes out of your brain. Question number 8 is, does my approach to organization help me focus on what matters most to me? That's super important, right? Because even if we have a lot of important stuff going on, there's a lot of shiny objects out there, right? And oftentimes we don't know what's most important. Everything seems equally important. So if you're not leveraging an approach to organization that truly helps you focus on what you determine is most important to you, you're going to be a hamster on a wheel. Does your approach to organization help you pause? Help you pause, slow down a little bit, and ask yourself some important questions. And question 10, the last one is, does it help me feel empowered? So if not, if you answered no to most of these questions, one of the things you can ask is, what's it costing me that my approach to organization is not very mindful? Now, as I shared with you guys, this is what it was costing me years ago. It was costing me my sanity. I didn't feel like a good mom. I didn't feel like a good coach or consultant at the time. I was consulting in HR. I didn't feel like really a great spouse because I was just, overloaded. So what is it costing you? So let me tell you that years ago when I had that moment outside in my driveway, it was a wake-up call. And I remember thinking, I do not want to feel this way. And as I told you, I started scrutinizing my approach to organization. And I started experimenting. I started experimenting with everything you could think of, all the planners, all the apps, all the strategies, read tons of books. And what ended up happening was none of them really served my purpose. None of them were cutting it. And ultimately what I ended up doing is I started creating my own approach, step by step. And what began to unfold is what I now call dashboarding. Now, dashboarding is a sequence of habits and strategies designed to help you up-level your productivity, work-life balance, and peace of mind. I call it a sequence of steps, but it's really a framework. It's really a mindset, and it's life-altering. And it helped me years ago go from feeling like this, like, whew, really, really depleted on edge. And then I started feeling, more in control, I was breathing. And then I felt like, woo, wow, I'm in the flow again. This is amazing. So just put in the chat box whether right now or on a day-to-day basis you feel like 1, 2, or 3. Go ahead, throw that in the chat. Jessica, what do you see?
I don't know how to use the chat.
Oh, you don't know how to use the chat?
No.
You can say it then, Lynette.
Oh, okay,
Number 1.
You're like number one, okay? Number
Yes,
one.
Right now, most people are probably a number one.
Okay, well, I totally relate, totally get that. That is exactly where I was. Now, I'm going to share with you top line what dashboarding is all about. So dashboarding starts with mental dashboards. What is a dashboard, you might ask? Well, it's a noun and a verb, okay? A dashboard is a collection of lists that are stored together and displayed according to a specific content area of your life or mind. It's also, you can use it as a verb. If you're going to dashboard, it's the act of organizing your tasks, your thoughts into different lists that are displayed in a grid-like format. So these, what I'm about to share with you, are mental dashboards. Ready? We're going to go through it top line. This is where you would take the contents of your mind, perhaps you do a brain release, okay? And you start to put them, break them into smaller lists and put them into different dashboards. So let's dig in. So you might have a dashboard or several dashboards dedicated to your job or your business. Okay, so like here's an example where I have my own business and I have marketing, a dashboard dedicated to all the moving parts of marketing, right? And things that I need to think about. So website, social media, what's my value proposition? What are my marketing materials that are all done and ready to go? What are my ideas for content marketing? Now, let me tell you, what I store in those receptacles are short-term, long-term, no-term tasks, even thoughts and ideas or questions that I store in there. I also have a family dashboard. This is just one mini family dashboard. You can create a family dashboard and create different receptacles for the different family members. And you might unpack things in there that you need to think about or talk about when the time is right with your family members. So I have a receptacle for my husband, for my 2 children. If there's things that come up during the day or during the week and I'm like, you know what, I never circled back to Ken about, what he wanted to do for his mom's birthday. I might store it in there. You can also store things related to upcoming vacations. Maybe there's health issues. Maybe there's things around your house that you want to keep track of. I have 2 lists. I have house-related projects and I have a wish list for things that I want to do in my home to make it more homey, okay? So this is just kind of giving you ideas on how you can start to organize and create lists for your business, your job, and your family, okay? So for my business, I actually have 6 kind of dashboards, and I call a dashboard like 6 different receptacles. I have like 6 of them dedicated to my business. I have 1 dashboard dedicated to all the events that are coming up. I have a dashboard dedicated to my individual coaching clients, my training ideas. So it's very, very helpful that I can see all the contents of my business by perusing my dashboards. You can also create a dashboard for a health issue. Maybe you are dealing with a very overwhelming health issue related to yourself, related to your child. Maybe it's an aging parent. You can unpack things related to doctors, specialists, things you need to research, nutrition, insurance. Okay, now I'm going to get back to that in a second, but you might also, I'll tell you right now. So many years ago, I used a dashboard to navigate all the moving parts of my eldest daughter's health condition. She came down with a very challenging health condition when she was 10 years old. Out of nowhere, it brought my family to our knees. All the doctors said, I brought her everywhere. Everyone said, there's nothing wrong. She's just difficult. And I was like, wow, if she's difficult, then I'm inept because I have tried everything. And long story long, as I like to say, I was determined to find out what was going on with her, felt incredibly overwhelmed and discouraged, but I used a dashboard, and I actually had a double dashboard unpacking everything I needed to think about, follow up on, research, and it helped me figure out. It took me about a year, and I figured out what was going on with her, and it changed everything. That really became the why of my business. just the fact that everybody has something that might throw them into overdrive, and your approach to organization can truly anchor you and help you feel centered. You might also have a dashboard about finances, okay? And this is where Jessica, can help you, right? Take this to a whole new level. When you think about your finances, you can think about like an actual closet. If you walked into a physical closet and it was everything related to finances, how would it be organized? How should you organize it? Maybe you're thinking about your savings and protection and your budget and goals. And this can be really helpful to get clear and take the weight off your mind. Okay? I just had a picture of my eldest daughter to prompt me to tell you that story. Maybe you have a project, some big project coming up, right, that you want to get clear on. You can use this for personal, you can use this for professional. It doesn't matter. I participated in a massive convention about a year ago. It was actually the New Jersey Teachers Convention, and I had a booth and all sorts of things that I needed to think about to plan for it. So I had a dashboard to help me get organized and succeed at that. I also had a dashboard, believe it or not, when I several years ago planned my mother's 70th birthday party it was a weekend, so I mapped everything out. You might have volunteering that you do. So maybe you have a dashboard dedicated to that. I lead a women's empowerment group, and so this is actually what my dashboard looks like, so that it helps me run a really effective meeting once a month. This is everything I need to think about, okay? Maybe you're searching for a new job, and you want a job search dashboard, okay? Jessica, how are we doing for time? I just want to make sure I'm okay.
Oh, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm going to give everyone a chance to ask questions too. So you can also use dashboards, not just for tasks, to-dos, and thoughts. You can use dashboards to stay connected to yourself. And that's what I did years ago. I had unpacked my feelings, believe it or not, and my feelings were really, really limiting. I had some just they weren't constructive thoughts about myself. I was in a bit of a hole, and I was like, you know what? I want to connect to some real positive things that I can, look at. So I created a dashboard where I unpacked things I was grateful for, things that I wanted to work on for personal development. I jotted down a list of my strengths. What are my friends and what do people come to me for naturally? I created a bucket list. I love asking this when I'm in a room full of people, saying, how many people have a bucket list? Usually like all the hands go up until I say, where is it? And then people are like, I don't know where it is. It's here. So I'm like, why not unpack it? So you can see it, so you can start to make it happen. Maybe you'd like to jot down the mantras or the affirmations, things that you grew up hearing from your own parents, or things that you say in your own house or to yourself to stay strong. Okay, my favorite one, without a doubt, is every problem has a solution. It's very centering. I say that a lot with my kids. That's, what we do. And you can also get clear on what your best day would look like. What would your best day need to have in it to feel totally awesome? All right, so why it's called dashboarding, it's pretty simple. It reminded me of driving a car. Now, a car is pretty complicated. It's very powerful. And everything you need to know about driving your car safely, efficiently, effectively is all laid out in front of you horizontally. Why? It's for quick and easy access. It's visible, it's accessible, it's organized, okay? That is no mistake. You need to make quick decisions. So dashboarding, these mental dashboards are really giving you access to your mental engine, right? So honestly, what could be better than having direct access to your awesome mind? The other thing that you can use dashboards for are really to cultivate self-awareness. One of the things my clients feel almost immediately after they unpack, they feel relieved, they feel organized, good, excellent. But the next phases, they start to go, holy cow, I can't keep doing it all. And that's awesome. That's exactly what I want my clients to really deeply connect with, because we're in a culture where we seem to believe that we have to do it all. There's no other option. So what ends up happening is most people are working harder, longer, and faster in order to try to keep up. So this is something that, like, if you can look at my hands, it's kind of like Venus flytrap, you know, like when I get my clients to this point and they're like, Gail, I can't keep doing it all. I'm like, exactly. I got you. That's what I'm talking about. So you can use your dashboards, and I go into great detail about this, to cull your mind, to reduce. What could I get rid of? What could I simplify? What could I delegate? What could I let go of? What could I save for later? What can I outsource? My favorite, what can I say no to? So many people, especially women, have great difficulty saying no. They feel guilty. But when you start dashboarding, you actually start to feel empowered. You feel stronger. You see very, very clearly that saying no to someone else is truly saying yes to you. So it is not uncommon for people to hear, my friends in my inner circle, to hear me say, I'd love to, but have you seen what's on my dashboards? You can't, okay? So the other huge part of dashboarding is really getting clear on your priorities. And I talk a lot about that. One of my favorite quotes, organizational quotes, relates to Jim Collins, who wrote Built to Last, Good to Great, other business books. And his quote is, if you have more than 3 priorities, you don't have any. And I think that's so deep and so wise, because it really forces you to get clear and to kind of reduce, okay? And then once you start having clarity and self-awareness, and this is flowing through you, it becomes so much easier to work off of a plan every single day as opposed to a list. Now tell me, awesome participants, what is the difference between a plan and a list? You can throw it in the chat. Maybe you can unmute yourself. Talk to me. What's the difference? Just go for it.
A plan is more actionable. It's a path to get the task done, whereas a list is just a list of tasks.
Mm-hmm.
Nicely said, Ashley.
What did you say?
I said, nicely said, Ashley.
Yeah, nicely said, Ashley. Anyone else?
Who views their to-dos as a list versus a plan?
Yeah, so here's actually what I want to ask on that. So just to be a little more specific, a list and a plan both have things that you need to get done and are actionable. But the main difference is a plan, the things that are on a plan usually are tied to a desired outcome. That's what makes it a plan, okay? Now, as I hope all of you guys know, I love lists. I'm obsessed with lists. I mean, hello, that's what makes up all the dashboards. But I am way more obsessed with teaching my clients how to work off of a daily plan every day that's tightly connected to their priorities. And not just any priorities, but priorities that are really tied into their whole life. Okay, and I spend a lot of time talking about this. This is where the rubber meets the road. Learning how to work off of a plan every day as opposed to a list, or opposed to working off of your email. Okay, working off of a plan will really help you live with greater intention. And the biggest benefit of dashboarding, of clearing your mind, cultivating awareness, getting clear on your priorities, and focusing on, you know, how to connect, how to make a plan, is it helps you get to less. And remember what I told you in the beginning, most of us are operating in this world of too much. And when you get to less, that's when flow really starts to occur. And you start to get very clear on what you're going after. There might be some fantastically shiny objects that would be really, really awesome, but you're here and you're not stressed because you know what you're focusing on. So the payoff to dashboarding, I could go on, but I'm just going to number one, I'm going to speak right from like my own experience. It totally helped me deepen my connection with my husband. Truly. It helped me feel more centered, more proactive, not nearly as reactive and on edge and irritable. I was just more settled. So communication improved so much. It also, without a doubt, helped me feel like a better mom. It put me in a position of, like I said, calm, but as I started to feel empowered, I actually started empowering my kids. I could see clear as day that I was mothering them, but I wasn't necessarily empowering them by doing a lot of things for them. And when my kids were in elementary school, they learned how to do their own laundry and put everything away, because that was just like a realization that I had too much, couldn't do it all. Well, why can't my kids do their laundry? They're fully capable. So that's just a little example there. It also helped me with health and wellness tremendously, because, you know, you're keeping the clutter out of your brain and you really start to connect with all the different areas of your life. So the balance, and it absolutely helped me with, you know, developing my whole business and bringing dashboarding to other people. And there was a lot for me to learn in building a business. And I attribute dashboarding to navigating so much of that. But most of all, I would say the overall payoff is that it helps you live in the present moment. And I think you guys by this point probably can understand why, because you've created space in your brain, you know where everything is. You don't have to look for it, so you can really be much more present. So you can just start to think about, which one are you? Are you mindful or are you mindful? And that's it. That is the end of this presentation. I am opening up this incredible floor for questions. Who's got them?
Well, I just want to make a point, Gail, of I wanted you to speak right around when we're talking about retirement lifestyles. Because as you know, when we were working on my dashboards, I had a dashboard for me and I had nothing in it. I had to unpack work. I had to unpack the house, the family, the kids, everything. And then I started to remember things that I had to do for myself, like go to the dermatologist, go get my new eyeglasses, go get my eyes checked, go pick up things at the store. But it was so far back in my brain because everything else was occupying my mind. And I think that happens with a lot of women coming up to retirement, is we're so career focused, we're so family focused that we don't know what to fill our day with.
Exactly.
And doing this work to unpack all that other stuff, we can actually start to remember things that we like to do. I remember one woman, Georgette saying, I have to remember what hobbies I used to like to do or find new hobbies because I've been so occupied with working and saving and working and saving. And this is a great way to really identify what makes you happy, what makes you feel empowered, what to go to when that career, that identity is stripped away from you. So thank you again, Gail, for coming in.
That is so spot on. Honestly, thank you. You're going to give my next presentation this Wednesday. I'm actually presenting to a bunch of job seekers from Wall Street. So I hope you're free Wednesday morning. But you're right.
I'll be your opener whenever.
Sounds good. You'll be my opener. But I'm so glad you highlighted that, because that is honestly what is the most exciting part of dashboarding, is it helps you reconnect with yourself again. And that fuels so much energy, so much empowerment, you know, that it makes it, you are more motivated and energized to go through and tackle the other things, because it's like, wow, I'm taking care of myself again. I'm giving myself permission. I'm saying no to things. I'm delegating. I'm saving for later, right? I'm getting clear on what I'm going after. Mm-hmm. So thank you. So important. Any other questions?
Is there a call to action you want them to do, Gail? Homework or something you want them to do? Because
yep.
There you go.
All right.
There
So
you go.
you can take a more in-depth dashboarding quiz. Just text me. You can just shoot me a text and request that I send you the quiz. It'll give you some more things to think about. I will also share with you an empowerment dashboard that's all filled out, so you can take a look at that. And I will also share that I do run something called the Dashboarding Academy. And it could be, the perfect time right now to dig into dashboarding. It's something that you can learn and start using immediately. And I do offer group training sessions as well as private training. And I'm sure it won't surprise you, but my training is very organized. Okay, it's in bite-sized pieces. It is not overwhelming. I will teach you how to design your templates for your dashboards. I will teach you how to shrink your priorities into goals. I will teach you how to avoid procrastinating, how to deal with distractions, how to create more powerful habits and routines. I will talk to you about email management. I will talk to you about calendaring. So if this is something that interests you, just text me. You can just go ahead. I have classes starting in June for the academy as well as the private coaching. And that's it. And you can text me and just say, hey, I have some other questions. Can we set up a time to talk? It's all good.
Okay?
And
Gail, I want everyone to connect with you. Gail, let me know who does, because everybody who does, I do have a special thing that's going to help us get more organized with their retirement piece, the money piece. So everybody who does reach out to Gail, she'll let me know, and I'm going to send that in the mail. We'll send out a Pink Fix package with it, something that will go similar to this, so we can get going on their organization in regards to their retirement. Okay, sound good?
Yep. And the only other thing I'll mention, it didn't come up as a question, but anybody that signs up for training gets the special training tool. It's called My Dashboard Planner. And I'm not going to go through it now, but it is really, really helpful to help you connect with the steps and the practice. And that's it. That's all I'll tell you right now. Okay. So thank you guys so much. It was nice to see one out of the four of you. Super fun. So thanks, Lynette. Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, Georgianne.